Okay, so following on from our leggings, we want to add a tight undertop to this. So let me just move, oh, I've already moved those out of the way. Okay, so they're moved. I'm going to right click on there and just freeze those so that they don't get included in any sims and slow us down while we're working. Okay, so what I want to do is create a tight, kind of tightish top to this. So let me zoom in using my mouse wheel, and then with the polygon tool I'm going to start somewhere down there in the middle, go vertically upwards, then across to the shoulder for the straps, then under the arm, and then down and finish. Now these two bottom ones didn't line up very well, so let me just select those two. Oops. Select them with shift and click, and then right click, align, and is this middles? Yes, middles. I get middles and centers mixed up sometimes, so that's why I was questioning myself there. Okay, so I think I'm going to actually want a little bit more width on this, so I'm just going to pull that to one side, and probably a little more height over the shoulder because of the curve. You know, it's not represented in 2D, of course, so just need to accommodate for that. I'm going to right click on that middle line and unfold. There we go. So now I want to instance this pattern and pop it to one side, and now it's instanced, it's going to mirror this. So when I change it on this side, it's going to change on all sides essentially. So Shift F, let's arrange the back one, and then I'll move the front one out of the way and arrange that one on that point. Just moved out of the way so I could see the points really. Shift F, now we can sew it up. So to our sewing tools and segment sewing, that side to that side, and let it think about it. There we go, it's done both sides because of the symmetric stuff we've done, and then we'll do the top, and it's done all sides for us. Okay, so let me press space and see what happens. It's not going to be terrific to start with. We need to adjust it. I just want to show where I look for. So across these shoulder straps, you'll see they're digging in a bit, and that's not just because there's not enough geometry. That's because the geometry is being pulled. So I think I was right in saying that these need to be moved. So let's just move those up a little bit. There we go. I might flatten them a little bit as well. There we go, and just press space, let it sim, and you'll see that it fits much better then. Right, so what else do we want to do? Well, we want to put some curvature into the arm, so we'll edit curvature and just select and just drag that in ever so slightly, and press space. There we go, that looks okay. The bottom is not quite tight enough, so we'll just grab a point and move that in. So just grab this point and move it inwards, press shift to constrain if you're anything like me. There we go, that's nice and tight. Okay, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a pull to get it fitting somewhere near nice. There we go. Okay, so that's the basic shape. In the next one, what we'll do is we'll do a couple of adjustments just to shape it and get it into a nice state. So I'll talk to Okay, so we're going to first of all break our symmetry. So I'll select the back piece and then right click and remove linked editing, because I want these to be slightly different. I want there to be a lower neckline at the front than at the back, for example. So with that in mind, I'm just going to move that point with shift down to constrain. I'm going to move that up and then press space. There we go. Similarly, I want this back to curve up a little. So, whoops, where's my mouse gone? Is it locking up? I've lost my mouse, there it is. So I'm just going to move that back point up a bit. Don't worry that there's a little kind of chevron in there at the moment. We will deal with that in a few moments. Okay, so that's that, it's doing alright. So I want the arms to be a little bit better fitting. There's a little trick with this. First of all, if you select each of the armhole pieces and make sure your sim's off, so I've just pressed space, and then turn elastic on, and then set the ratio to 100%, and that will try and keep it the same line as the 2D length, which has a tendency to stiffen it up a little bit. Okay, so with that done, I'll press space and you'll see that that tightens up quite nicely. There we go. Okay, so what else do we want to do? Well, the neck is not right, so let's do something about that. So I'm going to grab this point and move it down just a touch, not too far, and then with the edit curvature tool, I'm just going to put a little curve in there. Being careful not to, make this too angular. I'm just going to go to edit pattern and grab that point, and I think that is too angular, so I'm just going to pull that line so that it's more of a 90-degree angle. There we go. Similarly on the back, we can pop a little curve in. Oops, that's not the curve tool. Let's just undo that. There we go. Just going to pop a little curve in just to work that out. It's not symmetric that side anymore, so it's need to do both ends. That's okay. There we go. If we want to sort of move this out a little, because it's a little bit tight at the front, I'm just going to grab this point, going to straighten it up, and then pull it in that direction, just to deepen that that neckline. There we go. Okay, so this back bit I want to smooth out, so I'm going to use a smooth curve on this middle point. Just going to click on it and then drag it out somewhere about there, I think. There we go, that looks much nicer. Right, now these armholes, they're looking okay, but I do want to make them a little bit better, and I want to adjust the curve on either side of these points here to make that nice. So I'm going to go to edit pattern. I'm going to select two lines that match up, which is basically either side of this seam here. Oops, there we go. So I'll select those two. Sorry, just moved it there, just undone it, and then I'm going to match up to center. Now I can see that that comes to a very pronounced V rather than a lovely smooth curve. So I'll go to my tool, just going to select that point. I'm going to flatten it a little bit and maybe extend it. And then for the other side, I'll do exactly the same. I might need to just move that out of the way so I can actually select it. There we go. I just want them to be kind of on a similar kind of angle so that I don't get any points and nasty things going on down there. Okay, so that's much more shaped. I think perhaps the bottom needs to be tightened up a little. So I'm going to try initially with my sim off, select all those lines and turn elastic on and set it to 100, and then press space, and there we go, that tightens up nicely. So there we have well, the startings of a nice little undertop, but we need to sort of add some detail to it, which we'll do in the next section, so I'll talk to you then. Okay, so first thing I want to do is start to cut the seams on this. So the first thing I want to do actually is resymmetrize this back piece. So I'm just going to right click there and split down the middle. So uniform split for 2. There we go. and I'm going to use an internal line to go from top to bottom, double click at the end, and then I'm going to cut this. So right click and cut. I can now delete one side and then unfold this. So I'm going to unfold with symmetric editing, and now we should be more or less back where we started, except to say I've now got nice symmetry on the back. Now what I want to do is cut some seams into this, cut some edges, and unfortunately it's not always as easy as you might think. So first of all, let me demonstrate. I'm going to select two edges that match up and right click and match to center. And now if I simply offset this as an internal line, there we go, for say 5mm, and then right click and offset this as internal line for 5mm, you'll see that they don't match up. So we have to do a little bit of messing about just to make that work. So let me see if I can work that out. My general feeling is that I should go further, so I'm going to select this one and right click and offset as internal line, but this time I'm going to go 6, and that's too far. Of course it is. 5.5, no, not enough. 7, oh, it's pretty close. 8, I think that's probably about right. There we go. So these lines now, when I split them, should be about the same length. So let me just move that backwards a bit. I'm going to select both these lines, right click, cut and sew. Failed to cut. Right, one of them won't cut. Why won't it cut? It's because I didn't select the whole line. It's got lots of curve points in it. So right click, cut and sew. No, do I have to select this side as well? It's all good fun, isn't it? Let's just make sure that's on the line. Perhaps I have to unsymmetrize and resymmetrize, or just remove symmetry on the pattern now. Okay, well, let's remove symmetry on the pattern. Removed linked editing, there we go. Seems to be an additional line down there. I don't know where that's come from. Oh, perhaps I didn't undo one. Perhaps that's the problem I've got. There we go. So let's double click on both these, right click, cut and sew. There we go. Let's press space just to let it sim back again. And now I've got an edge on there which matches up quite nicely at the shoulders. There we go. Okay, so we want to do the shoulders or the arms as well. So I'm going to match these back up again. And where are we? Match up to center. Might adjust that curve a little bit first. So let's just grab that point and straighten it up a bit. So I've got almost a straight line, when this is matching up. There we go. Okay, so I'll select the top one, right click, offset as in the internal line. This time I'll go 5mm, and then I'll do the same for this side. Offset as internal line for 5mm. And this time, because I made that line more or less straight, they're very, 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 very close. Not sure I can get any closer than that. So I'm just going to grab that point, try and get it to snap to that back one. There we go. Now the other issue is that we've got another end to worry about here. So I'm going to select this line and this line, and right click and match to centers. Oops, perhaps did that the wrong way around. And I'm going to have a look, and again we're very close. Oh, excuse me, that crept up on me. But actually these lines are slightly, or the whole thing is slightly longer, so I think we can get away with just moving both in this case. So I'm going to move that just up to snap to that one, and then that one to that one, and we should be good. So let's select all those lines and right click, cut and sew. There we go. And now on this side at least it should be matching up quite nicely. There we go, it's just settling in. Because I removed the editing there, the patterned editing, the symmetric editing, you see I've got here one side hasn't been cut. That's my fault. So let's have a go at that one. So I'm going to match this side to this side, and let's match up. Let's try start. There we go, that's good. And now I can offset this one as an internal line. Click OK, and then zoom in. And just snap this one. Whoops, not that one. That was the wrong one. Snap this one to that one. There we go. And I'll do the same for the top, of course, which will be to this one, and I'll match that to the start. That was the wrong match. I need to match it to the other side, so match to end. There we go. And now I can see how far I'm out. It's a teeny tiny amount. I'll just grab that point. Whoops. This one's going to be a pest. No, it's really wouldn't let me do it. Okay, so I'll do it the other way around. I'll just grab that and pop that to there instead. Okay, so let's press space, let that all sim. Okay, so that's the top half done. And we just need to do the bottom. So I'm a little bit all higgledy-piggledy here. So I'm just going to rotate that round. There we go. We'll rotate this one as well. So there we go. So I've at least got them, side by side. Right. So the bottom bit, actually, I'm not going to just cut it. I'm going to, generally add a piece. So let's find out how big we need. So I'll select these pieces, and I need that piece and that piece as well. Come on, select. Okay, we'll do front first then. So we want 327 there. So we'll create a rectangle of 327 by somewhere around 5mm. And then at the back, whoops, cancel. I'll select these two and take my symmetric length, if it's showing me a symmetric length. No, it isn't. Terrific. I wonder why that is. My brain's gone. Come on, brain. You could do it. Right. Because this is causing me some grief, I'm going to remove the linked editing and select these lines. There we go. So we want 220.7 there. So 220.7, and again 5mm, and then OK. And now we can sew them up. Whoops, cancel. So we use the free sewing tool. So I'm just going to go from there to there, and from there to there. That clearly isn't big enough. That's 325.7. I don't know where I got that other line from. Right, so these lines, right click want to be much bigger, I'll just start again. Come on, sorry about this, not always this foolish. Right, let's try this again. $325.7. I probably read it wrong last time. 325.7 by 5 millimeters. Not 500. Come on, John. There we go, and click OK. Now we use our segment sewing, not segment sewing, sorry, free sewing tool. So from there to there, from there to there, and then on the front we'll do the same. And then in the 2D window, I'm going to select this one, right click and superimpose side, and it should go underneath. There we go. And I'll do the same on the back one, right click, superimpose side. Okay, so all that's left really to do is sew up the edges. So from there to there. Now the fiddly one, from there to there. There we go. Let's let that sim and see what we get. There we go. So now we've got the basis for our trims, and in the next one what we'll do is add our piece over this and then add some geometry to make it look nice. Okay, so talk to you. Okay, so it's basically the same procedure as before, but we're working with slightly smaller pieces now, so we might need to take a little bit more care. Okay, so let's do the bottom first. So I'm going to right click on those and copy and paste just below. There we go. And then we'll sew them up. As we sew tool, there it is. So top to top, bottom to bottom, bottom to bottom, top to top. Then in our 3D window we can select our piece, right click and superimpose over, and similarly on the back, right click and superimpose over. Okay, so because this is a very small piece of trim, there is going to be nearly no geometry in it. There's certainly only going to be a single row of polygons. So at this point in time I'm just going to put those two trim edges in. So let's select all of our edges and offset as internal line. Now 5 millimeters I believe is way too much. 2 millimeters is going to be equally too much because it's that thin a piece. So we'll go 1. There we go, and I'll press space, and now we get that nice little ridge there that gives us that nice feeling of thickness. Just going to select the avatar and Shift A, and then select those inner pieces and right click and flip the normals. There we go. So essentially it's the same for these pieces here at the top. I won't do those, I won't do them for a video because I've already taken too long explaining the trim and you're probably bored of it by now, but I'm just going to perform the same operation for all of those things. So I shall talk to you then. Okay, so I've done that for around my edge pieces, and occasionally I've increased the particle value, and I'll show you for why. You see down here we're getting a little bit of issue on the back, and that's largely because the geometry is, there's just not enough. So what I'm going to do is select all my pieces around this bottom here and increase or decrease my particle distance rather to 5. And that's going to give me much more geometry, not necessarily across the whole mesh, or vertically rather, but I am going to get more kind of divisions. And when I press space then to let that resim. I might need to reset it, so if I right click on that, because I flipped the normal, I now need to superimpose under. There we go. I need to let that think about it for a moment. Okay, let me just stop that. I'm just going to move these top pieces out of the way, because sometimes it's best just to let the bottom settle first. So I'm going to right click on those and deactivate pattern, and then let that sim, and then I'll turn the sim off with the space bar. I'm going to reactivate these, activate, and then right click and superimpose under, and then press space, and there we go. Now it's sorted its life out. Actually, it's started to go over here now, which is typical. You know, sometimes you'll fix one side and the other side will go. So let me just undo, and now I'm going to add in some horizontal geometry, and for that I'm just going to select here, right click and offset as internal line, and I'll give this one 2mm. Just will split it down the middle basically, and similar for the back one, and offset as internal line 2mm. There we go. And then I'll offset these by 1 each, so that one and that one. Right click, offset as internal line, just 1mm, just to give it a little bit of extra, and then I'm going to press space and let it settle, and there we go. Now it's behaving itself far better. Yeah, small pieces are annoying, and sometimes it's often good just to make them bigger just so that they're less annoying, but you know, that's such is the nature of things. Okay, so we want a fabric for this. This is our undertop. So let's have a look in our substances, and I could use the same one, but I don't think so. I don't think that's a good idea. What shall I use? Perhaps a nylon. So let's grab the nylon, I'm going to drag and drop that over our fabric. This has got transparency on it, so I want to take that off. So let's have a look at our transformation to start with. I'm going to lock the aspect ratio and take that down to 40, just to make it much finer. And then let's have a look what else we've got. I'm going to switch this back and forward a moment. Let me turn the sim off. Come on, turn off. There we go. I want to be looking at the front. I don't want transformations. I don't want reflection parameters. Where's the interesting stuff gone? Where's the stuff that lets me change the transparency and such like? It can't be under there. Must show me the map somewhere. I think I've perhaps picked up. Oh no, see, now I've deselected it and reselected it. It's playing ball. So we'll look at custom properties. Colour I don't want to be purple, I want to be much darker grey. I'll leave a bit of purple in there perhaps. No, not purple, let's switch that to a blue. There we go. And somewhere around here I will have some properties where I can change my transparency. So it's not there, it's not there. Custom properties, colour, roughness, metallic, channels, there we go. There'll be an opacity here, I'll take that off, and now there we are. Sorry about that, it was just MD playing me up a little bit. Okay, so that's about it for this particular bit. We've got our top and we've got some pants, and I just want to put something over the top of this to kind of bring it all together and have it a little bit more interesting. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll talk to you again soon.